Hi, Clark County. I'm Clark County Poet Laureate Angela Brummel, and today we're talking with Gigi Guizado.
Hi, Angela.
Hey,
Thanks for having me.
it's wonderful to see you this morning.
You too.
I wanted to invite you today because not everyone had an opportunity to come out for your recent workshop on translation. So I just thought it'd be great to talk with you a little bit about your poetry journey and then maybe have you read some poems for us.
Fantastic. Yeah, that was a really fun time that we spent at the Winchester Dondera Cultural Center talking about translation. Thank you for having invited me to that as well.
It was a wonderful session. And so, for the people that weren't able to attend, can you tell us a little bit about how you started working in translation?
Sure, it was really by accident. Um, I grew up not knowing much about my father's side of the family. In fact, I knew almost nothing. That information was kept from me. And when I grew older, eventually I met my father, and we tried to make up for lost time. He shared with me a book that his father had written called Complemento. And sort of the way that parents do, where they read a story together out loud. I was no longer a child, but my father and I embarked on reading this beautiful piece of literature out loud together. It was written in Spanish in Colombia in the early 1940s. And it was beautiful, it was poetic, and a fair amount of it went over my head. So I had to look up a lot of words in order to understand the nuance and the depth of the story. And I got to where I'd jot them down. And after a while, I realized that, well, if I just kept at it, I could translate that whole darn play. And perhaps I should to understand it fully. And so that was where it started.
So, what I loved in your workshop that we got to experiment with gender names like earth, terrain, ground, making choices. What do you think translation has done for your work?
As a poet, it's very broadening. As a poet, it can be a lot of fun to. I was just doing it in my mind on the way here. I was driving here and I was noticing how the sunlight, the morning sun, because I'm not a morning person. I'm not usually up driving around at this time of day.
Thank you for coming out.
Of course, my pleasure. It was a gift, really, because I got to see that how, as compared to midday sun, the morning sunlight looked like it was coming through a veil. And so I thought about that poetically. I thought, oh, that's a lovely image. I want to do something with that. The veil of morning sunlight, or la mantilla de la mañana. So when I think about it in English versus Spanish, it colors the words in a different way. And that opens new poetic possibilities for me. Yeah, translation has deepened my English, if you will. Because even if I don't say the words in Spanish in my poem, I very well may have considered them in Spanish and added the richness that created back into English.
I completely understand that. I saw you at, we sat by each other at one of the literary events with Grupo Litario Kamala. And I don't speak Spanish. I took Latin. I can pick out bits and pieces. But I've loved their events for that very reason that you're talking about, because I'm sitting with my phone and translating, and the word choices, the metaphor, the way that it's put together adds all these different colors and tones and ways to say something. And that's something I loved about your workshop, is that by having us go through and say, this woman is personifying the earth, or are we going to call her terra? Are we going to call her earth? Are we going to call her ground? And all of that creates a different feeling.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that if I keep attending events in Spanish and keep working on it, that eventually I'll have more of that language too. So I appreciate that so much. So what did you bring to share with us today?
This poem is called Appleseed. The Emerson Review was nice enough to publish it. And it grew out of a conversation I had with one of my nieces. I was in San Francisco and we were spending some quality time together, and she approached me with a question, some advice about navigating life as an adult, as a bicultural person. And so we had a good talk, and then when I got home, I went for a walk, and this came to me. Nettie and I walk and talk where trees line both sides of the street. Black tar long since poured has cracks where the roots are stored. Paradise is delineated. The line dotted and faded snakes through. Citizens take sides over what color to paint it. Sheet white or Totec yellow. Nettie asks, "Tia, how do you straddle this tiresome road? Baggage from both sides is a heavy load." I sprinkle seeds along the way so Nettie's mind grows wide as her roots, to bear nourishing fruit one day. Long after I'm gone, she can pass it on. Help others like Sister Lisi to breathe freely. Thick skin doesn't let bigotry sink in. Variety of color adds to our beauty like the bark of a eucalyptus tree. We climb a wise old oak with thick branches low and wide, extending its canopy to shade as far as the other side. There we sit, sneakers dangling, enjoying the perfect view. "This is mi estrella," I said, "and it is yours too." Our vantage point between the earth and sky allows us to see beyond the line and know we come from a dirt path leading all the way back to Arkansas black, lined with enough fruit for all to dine, as much negra de Arkansas as Macintosh.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming out today.
Thank you for having me. It's been a true pleasure.
If you're looking for upcoming April National Poetry Month events, on Friday, April 26th, we have the Poetry of Memoir with Kim Foster at the Winchester Dondero Center at 6 p.m. And then on Saturday, we have Poetry and Poses with Emily Hoover from 3 to 5 p.m. But I also want to give you a sneak peek. May 1st, look for the details. We will have an online workshop with Sean Singer. It's a workshop on revision. And then on May 15th, he'll be coming to Las Vegas to do a reading at the Winchester Dondero Cultural Center, 6 to 8 p.m.